You're alone at home. The house is quiet. You're reading, cooking, or maybe getting ready for bed, when suddenly something feels wrong. A heavy pressure clamps down on your chest. Your breathing turns shallow. Your arm tingles. And in a single terrifying moment, you realize you might be having a heart attack, and there's no one else there to help you. This exact situation happens to hundreds of thousands of seniors every year. Yet almost 90% of them don't know the life-saving steps that can keep them alive in those first critical moments. Moments when every second counts. But today, that changes for you. Over the next hour, we're going to walk step by step through 7 medically proven techniques, backed by real research, that can dramatically increase your chance of surviving a heart attack when you're completely alone. These aren't rumors, internet myths, or old cough trick chain-forward emails. These are evidence-based, cardiologist-approved emergency actions that anyone over 60 should know, because knowing them may be the difference between life and death. So take a deep breath, stay with me, and let's begin. Welcome, everyone. Before we dive in, please take a moment and comment below your age, where you're watching from. We respond to every comment because senior heart health isn't just information, it's a community effort. Nitroglycerin can feel, emotionally, like having a trained paramedic right beside you when it is used exactly as directed by the healthcare professional who prescribed it. In moments when chest discomfort strikes, the first priority is safety, and that begins with stopping activity and sitting down. This reduces strain on the heart and helps prevent falls should dizziness occur. If a clinician has instructed the person to use nitroglycerin, the typical sequence they teach may involve placing 1 tablet under the tongue, allowing it to dissolve fully without chewing, while monitoring symptoms closely. After about 5 minutes, if the pain persists and the prescribing clinician has permitted repeat doses, a second tablet may be used. If there is still no improvement after another 5 minutes, a third may be taken. But those who are trained to use this medication are warned never to take more than 3 tablets within this interval and never to delay emergency care. The most essential moment of the entire protocol is recognizing that ongoing chest pain after the first dose is already a 911 moment. Emergency services must be contacted immediately, even if additional doses are allowed while waiting. Important safety considerations are always emphasized during medical instruction. Heat exposure can damage nitroglycerin tablets, weakening their effect, so they must be protected from sunlight, hot cars, or pockets close to the body. Proper storage matters. The medication must remain in its original, tightly closed container to prevent air and moisture from degrading it. Transferring it into pill organizers or plastic bags reduces reliability. One of the most critical warnings involves interactions with erectile dysfunction medications such as Viagra, sildenafil, or Levitra, vardenafil. These drugs can dramatically amplify nitroglycerin's blood pressure-lowering effect, leading to life-threatening drops in circulation. Because of this, anyone prescribed nitroglycerin is instructed to tell their clinician about all medications they take and to avoid nitroglycerin entirely if these interactions may be present until cleared by a medical professional. As clinicians often stress, if in doubt, don't take it. Call for help. Understanding these principles helps convey why nitroglycerin is treated respectfully, carefully, and always in partnership with emergency responders and medical guidance. When chest pain strikes, the seconds feel loud. So remember the voices that matter. Sit down. Stay calm. Call 911. These aren't just instructions, they're lifelines. When seconds decide survival, something as simple as a locked door can become the biggest barrier between a person in crisis and the paramedics racing to save them. That's why the first step in any emergency, long before sirens echo down the street, is ensuring responders can actually get inside. Picture a home where the front door is already slightly open, not enough to compromise safety, but just enough to let rescuers push through without delay. That small gap can shave off critical moments and prevent responders from wasting precious time forcing entry. Now imagine stepping further inside as all lights blaze throughout the home. Hallway bulbs, kitchen lamps, porch fixtures, everything on, guiding paramedics like a runway so they can instantly identify hazards, spot a collapsed patient, or move equipment quickly without second-guessing their path. In buildings where access is controlled, a lockbox mounted near the entrance becomes a lifeline. The code, clearly shared with dispatch during the 911 call, allows paramedics to open a secure compartment, retrieve a key, and enter without breaking a door or losing vital minutes. And for those living in apartments, where gates, elevators, and security desks often create delay, a quick call to the front desk. Emergency responders are on their way. Please let them up immediately. Can mean the difference between a paramedic stuck in a lobby and one arriving on the correct floor when every heartbeat matters. Beyond physical access, an emergency information sheet taped to the inside or outside of the door can be a lifesaver. Medications listed, allergies in bold, chronic conditions, emergency contacts, the exact location of medical equipment, oxygen tanks, inhalers, EpiPens, everything. Responders need to make split-second decisions without scrambling for answers. This sheet can include simple but crucial statements like patient is inside, non-responsive, or dog inside but friendly. Do not delay entry. The more information paramedics have before crossing the threshold, the faster they can act, the fewer steps they have to repeat, and the safer the entire rescue becomes. All these small actions, opening a door, turning on lights, using a lockbox, alerting the building staff, posting an information sheet, form a chain of preparation that quietly stands guard long before an emergency happens. They transform chaotic minutes into organized seconds and give responders the clarity they need to focus on what matters most: the person waiting for help. In emergencies, we often think about calling 911, performing CPR, or administering aid, but we rarely think about access. Yet it's often the very first obstacle responders face, and the simplest one we can prepare for. And here's the truth: your future self, your loved ones, or even a stranger in your home may one day depend on a decision you make today to ensure paramedics can step inside without hesitation or delay. Because when a life is on the line, even a door, quiet, ordinary, overlooked, can become the hero or the hindrance. So ask yourself, when the moment comes and every second counts, will the people racing to save a life be able to get inside? This is where preparation begins, and where survival can be won or lost. Now imagine the sirens approaching your street. Will your door be ready to open? In moments of intense fear, especially when the body senses danger and the mind begins to race, breathing often becomes fast, shallow, and scattered, fueling even more panic. While controlled breathing is not a treatment for any medical emergency, it can help calm the mind and reduce the body's stress response while you wait for help. So imagine this moment as a gentle pause, a soft invitation to reconnect with the breath. As the scene opens, the tone is warm and steady, like a voice guiding you back to safety. You're invited to sit comfortably or simply become aware of your chest rising and falling. The world slows. The noise drifts away. Then, in a calm, grounded tone, the guidance begins. Inhale for 4. A slow, steady breath that fills the chest like warm light. Hold. A quiet suspension, as if time itself softens around you. Exhale slowly for 6. A long, gentle release that lets tension melt from the shoulders. The room feels different now, quieter, more anchored. Again, the voice returns, steady and reassuring, leading you deeper into calm. Inhale for 4, letting presence replace panic. Hold, feeling the stillness grow. Exhale slowly for 6, watching the breath carry stress outward like a slow-moving tide. And then once more, the rhythm unfolds. Inhale for 4, drawing in steadiness. Hold, letting clarity settle. Exhale slowly for 6, allowing heaviness to gently leave the body. Your heartbeat eases. The breath becomes your anchor, simple, steady, within reach. And as the guidance fades, the voice leaves you with a final reminder that this small act of intentional breathing can create a moment of space even in the most overwhelming situations. Because sometimes, the simplest breath can become the strongest lifeline. Are you ready to take the next one? When a person becomes lightheaded, weak, short of breath, or shows early signs of shock, how their body is positioned can determine how much blood successfully returns to the heart and reaches the brain, and this can dramatically influence their chances of stabilizing. The semi-Fowler's position at about 45 degrees is one of the safest early responses because it uses gravity to your advantage. Keeping the upper body elevated while allowing the chest to expand makes breathing easier, reduces pressure on the heart, and slows the progression towards circulatory collapse. Bending the knees slightly helps relax the abdominal muscles and reduces strain on the lower back. But more importantly, it prevents unnecessary pooling of blood in the legs, encouraging a steadier return of blood toward the central circulation. At the same time, loosening tight clothing, especially around the chest, neck, and waist, can instantly improve airflow and reduce restriction that might worsen breathing or trap pressure around major blood vessels. In early shock or near-fainting situations, these subtle adjustments can mean the difference between recovery and sudden deterioration. However, knowing when to move someone to the recovery position is just as crucial. If the person becomes unresponsive but is still breathing normally, placing them on their side protects their airway, prevents choking if vomiting occurs, and keeps the tongue from blocking airflow. The recovery position is not about comfort, it is about airway survival. On the other hand, you should understand why lying flat is dangerous initially in many near-collapse or breathing difficulty cases. When someone is suddenly placed flat on their back, the abdominal organs can push upward against the diaphragm, making breathing harder. Blood may rush too quickly to the heart, placing sudden demand on a system already struggling. And if the person feels nauseated, the risk of aspiration sharply increases. For patients experiencing chest discomfort, respiratory distress, or evolving shock, lying flat can worsen the imbalance between oxygen supply and circulation at the exact moment the body is fighting to compensate. That is why the initial response should stabilize posture, protect breathing, reduce restriction, and maintain blood flow, not overwhelm it. Always remember, positioning is not just comfort, it is life-saving physiology in action. And now, ask yourself this. If one simple position can change the body's entire survival strategy, what other small actions might be powerful enough to save a life? For decades, many seniors have heard that aspirin can be life-saving in an emergency, yet very few truly understand the fastest and most effective way to use it when every second counts. When a heart attack is suspected, the goal isn't simply to take an aspirin. It's to get the medication working as quickly as possible, because time lost is heart muscle lost. That's why experts often emphasize that the method matters. How you take it can dramatically change how fast it helps. The first key is chewing the aspirin rather than swallowing it whole. Chewing breaks the tablet down immediately, allowing the active ingredient to enter the bloodstream faster, so it can start inhibiting platelet clumping sooner, a critical step in slowing the progression of a clot. The second key is the correct emergency dose, 325 milligrams, which is equal to 4 baby aspirins. Baby aspirin alone, or the smaller 81 milligrams people take daily, is not enough in a suspected heart attack scenario. And because emergencies don't happen on schedule, it's wise to keep aspirin in multiple rooms, in your car, and even in a small travel pouch so it's always within arm's reach. Another overlooked point is that expired aspirin loses potency, meaning the tablet you rely on may not work when you need it most. So check dates regularly and replace bottles on time. And here's the part almost no one knows. Even if you already take aspirin daily, that low-dose maintenance regimen does not replace the need for the full 325 milligrams emergency dose, because the body metabolizes aspirin over hours, and the immediate anti-clotting effect needed during a suspected heart attack requires a fresh, full-strength dose right away. Of course, aspirin is not a substitute for emergency medical care. Symptoms like chest pressure, shortness of breath, nausea, jaw or arm pain always require immediate medical attention. But knowing the proper protocol can buy precious minutes while help is on the way. Always consult your doctor about whether. Cough CPR is often talked about online, sometimes with a tone of urgency and drama, but it's important to understand what it actually is and what it is not. Despite the name, cough CPR is not a standalone life-saving technique, and it is absolutely not a replacement for calling emergency services when someone shows signs of cardiac distress. The idea behind it comes from very specific clinical settings, usually under medical supervision, where a patient is already being monitored and suddenly experiences an abnormal heart rhythm. In such controlled circumstances, a deliberate and repeated cough may help maintain circulation for a brief moment until professional intervention occurs. But outside of those monitored environments, cough CPR is not a reliable or safe strategy. In real-world emergencies, symptoms of cardiac trouble can escalate extremely quickly, and a person may not have enough time, coordination, or awareness to attempt any form of self-rescue. That's why medical professionals emphasize that the very first response to suspected cardiac arrest should always be to call 911 immediately and follow the instructions of trained dispatchers. Cough CPR cannot restart a stopped heart. It cannot replace trained responders, and it cannot guarantee survival. Still, understanding the concept can remind us how fragile those moments are, how critical it is to act fast, stay calm, and rely on proven, evidence-based emergency care. So while it's okay to recognize that cough CPR has a narrow, specific purpose in clinical settings, we must never let myths overshadow the truth. Every second counts, and professional help is the lifeline that truly saves lives. And if you've ever wondered what really happens inside the body during those intense, breath-tightening seconds, and how emergency responders fight to bring a heart back from chaos, then keep listening, because the next part will take you inside the moment where every heartbeat tells a story. Most people assume that having a phone nearby is enough, that simply keeping it on the nightstand or tucked in a pocket will somehow protect them in a moment of crisis. But the truth is far harsher. During a heart attack, your brain begins losing oxygen within seconds, and when that happens, your ability to think clearly slips away shockingly fast. The dizziness, the panic, the sudden weakness in your arms, it all comes rushing in before most seniors can even process what's happening. And that's the dangerous part, because when confusion hits, the very tool you rely on for help becomes nearly impossible to use. Just imagine trying to unlock your phone while your hands tremble uncontrollably, or attempting to dial 911 when your vision starts to blur. For many, the phone that's right there might as well be miles away. That's why preparing before an emergency isn't optional. It's essential. Whether it's setting up devices that alert help automatically, arranging simple one-touch solutions, or making sure loved ones can be notified instantly, the difference between life and tragedy often comes down to planning ahead. Heart attacks rarely give warnings. They don't wait for you to find your phone. They don't slow down because you need time. And every doctor will tell you that the first few minutes are everything. So ask yourself, if you were alone, scared, and suddenly unable to think straight, would you truly be ready? Because in a life or death moment, I'll figure it out when it happens is the most dangerous plan of all. Now more than ever, seniors need systems in place that don't rely on memory, speed, or clarity. Systems that take over when the mind and body can't. Preparing today could mean surviving tomorrow. In an emergency, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of preparation. So the real question is, how prepared are you right now? Summarize with slow pacing. Encourage printing steps and sharing video. Ask final engagement question. Have you ever experienced a heart emergency alone? What advice would you give other seniors?